Okay, so, when I think of that, I think of, man, other than being alive, you couldn't have been more broken physically than you were. So,
Correct.
I mean, because I think part of that physical recovery is what I've seen in your financial recovery, and we'll get there. But tell me about that physical recovery. Like, tell me what you remember, and then tell me like when like the tide started to turn. You started to break away physically from being really, really messed up to where you were building strength.
So when the moment I remember, like I'll start up with the day that I had my last rites read to me. And I know this because I asked later and they told me it was that Sunday afternoon because my accident happened on a Friday night. And I remember in my mind, so imagine a totally black room and I'm lying there and the spotlight is on me. And there was an individual hooded, with a small book, and he was just rocking back and forth, speaking in Latin, looking over me. And I'm just looking up at him, and I would say, "Who are you? And what are you doing?" And I kept repeating it. No answer, no answer. They kept reading and reading and just rocking back and forth, reading in Latin. And I asked this image, I said, "Who are you? Am I dying? Is this me dying?" And there was no answer. Then I got really angry. I'll exclude the expletives that I was using to keep this rated G. But I said, no way, F you, basically. I'm not dying. I'm not going out like this. So that I recognize that was my will to survive and was my determination and my grit. And I still remember like it happened yesterday. That's how vivid it is for me. And when I began to come to out of the coma, they were telling me all my injuries, and I didn't believe them. I said, there's no way a human body could withstand so much and survive, at least not be paralyzed.
4 weeks in the coma? Is that
4 weeks? Yeah, 4 weeks, a month, basically in a coma.
Wow.
And 7 weeks total in an intensive care unit. So, and I didn't believe the doctors. And at that very moment, I kind of began to realize that I just don't fit in the mold. I don't look the part. I'm not the type, I don't look like somebody got run over by a garbage truck. Like it's 3 tons of a garbage truck, over 50,000 pounds. And Nick and I both took physics in college. And I think most people would probably go back to their high school days, remember force equals mass times acceleration. And the M was very big. The acceleration was very small, but equaled a very big F.
Yeah.
And it demolished me. And I recognized then that I just did not fit in their little box of, this is what happened to you. I'm like, I don't fit. You have to have a lot of documentation to write down what happened to me.
Yeah.
So, your parents, they help you financially, they help you mentally, spiritually, everything recover, but they have to be away from their jobs and they have to use their assets. And you guys basically come out of this, not only you with no money, but your parents with really no money.
Correct.
Right? This is everything that broke you physically, right, that you're starting to rebuild. But then you realize as you're starting to get better and you're just starting to, like you said, learn to breathe, learn to walk, all these things, you went, oh my gosh, I'm broke basically.
Yeah. Even though I had insurance, I was a professional airline pilot, I had medical insurance. And I quickly realized that I watched too much television and I was watching Law and Order, and that's not how it works. Insurance, I'm glad I had it, but it was basically only a coupon for stuff. They never paid, the insurance company never paid for my ambulance from where they scooped me up off the street and where I went to the hospital. According to them, I didn't need it. So that's just one of many examples of what they didn't pay. Wow. So my insurance kicks in. Then I'm paying out of pocket, but I had no residual. I had no other business. I was an airline pilot, and that was my sole source income. And my parents had retired. My dad actually had his retirement stolen from an airline in Mexico back in like 1988 or 1990. So he was. They moved to the U.S. and he was laid off in 2003. So they just had a lot of savings. Yeah. Their money mindset was save, and that's fine. And they consumed up all their savings. I had no savings. I mean, I had maybe $12 in my name in the bank account, and We had charity. So I had charities for physical therapy, and hospitals kicked in, and friends did the GoFundMe campaigns and things of that sort. So a lot of help from friends and family. But I came out of this, and my parents sacrificed themselves financially for me. So they actually declared bankruptcy. This is all happening also during the 2008 downturn with the credit crunch, the housing crisis.
Right.
It was complete devastation and financial chaos for everybody. And I'm in the middle of all this, and then we end up being homeless because the bank foreclosed on my parents' home too.
Wow.
Yeah.
The banks, as Nelson said last week, the banks are evil.
Yeah.